We often treat the book versus movie debate like a competition where one medium must win. But comparing them this way often overlooks how each format actually processes information. When we frame the rivalry as a zero-sum game, we miss the specific ways each version of a story can change our perspective. Rabindranath Tagore was a leading figure of the Bengal Renaissance, a poet, philosopher, and the first non-European to receive the Nobel Prize in Literature. His 1916 novel, The Home in the World, is rooted in that specific intellectual authority. The story is set against the 1905 partition of Bengal, a move by British Viceroy Lord Curzon that split the province along religious lines. It was a bureaucratic decision that triggered immediate widespread resistance across India. This resistance became the Swadeshi Movement. It wasn't just a protest, it was an economic boycott. Indian citizens began refusing British imports, choosing instead to support domestic Indian goods as a powerful form of political defiance. Within this turmoil, Tagore places three people: Bimala, a woman living in a traditional household; her husband Nikhil, who believes in a rational, moral humanism; and Sandeep, a nationalist leader who uses the movement to preach a more aggressive, radical ideology. In 1984, the filmmaker Satyajit Ray attempted an ambitious adaptation. He had to decide how to take Tagore's deeply philosophical text and recreate its internal conflicts for the screen. Engaging with both the novel and the film reveals a significant shift. One version builds its world through internal logic and debate, while the other translates those same ideas into a series of immediate sensory experiences. Tagore uses three alternating diaries. Nikhil reveals ethical humanism, famously stating he is willing to serve his country, but reserves worship for right, which is greater. Conversely, Sandeep's private thoughts expose him manipulating Bimala and followers, viewing morality as an obstacle to political success. This structure forces us to weigh these conflicting accounts against each other. We have to decide, moment by moment, which character is being honest and whose ideology holds up under the scrutiny of the other narrators. The title itself points to the primary conflict: the home, representing the tradition and security of private life, versus the world, representing the public, volatile sphere of politics and social change. By keeping us inside the characters' thoughts, the novel ensures that the violence of the Swadeshi movement remains a topic of intellectual discussion, a series of arguments we analyze rather than events we physically witness. When Satyajit Ray adapted the story, he made a fundamental change. He removed the internal diaries entirely. There are no monologues to explain the characters' motivations to the audience. To show why people follow Sandeep, Ray uses visual presence. We don't need to read about his charisma. We see it in his body language and how he commands political rallies, making his influence over the crowd a visible reality. Nikhil's strength is also translated into action. In the film, his moral stance isn't communicated through long passages of text, but through his quiet, steady reactions and his refusal to be moved by the aggressive energy surrounding him. Ray uses the physical space of the house to represent Bimala's internal conflict. Her movement from the secluded women's quarters into the drawing room becomes a recurring visual threshold, marking her step-by-step transition from her traditional role into the public world. Fire becomes a central cinematic image. It connects the small-scale burning of foreign cloth in the courtyard to the large-scale destruction of the communal riots, visually linking Bimala's personal choices to the wider devastation of the country. Ray replaces the novel's introspective pace with the momentum of cinema. By the time the political violence reaches the household, the audience is no longer weighing arguments. They are witnessing the physical collapse of a family and a community. The film doesn't simplify Tagore's message. It changes how we receive it. It takes the abstract debates about nationalism and turns them into human consequences we can see. In the novel, we understand that Sandeep's rhetoric is dangerous because we can read his cold, calculating diaries. We see the mechanics of his ego before he ever acts. In the film, that danger is proven by the scale of the crowds and the smoke rising from the riots. We see the end result of that rhetoric in the faces of the people who suffer from it. Tagore's final message remains the same, that our shared humanity must never be sacrificed for political ambition. But fully understanding that warning requires two different perspectives. The novel provides the internal logic needed to recognize how manipulation begins, while the film provides the visual evidence of what that manipulation eventually destroys. Ultimately, these two versions of the home and the world demonstrate how different mediums can reveal different layers of the same truth. By moving between the text and the screen, we gain both a critical understanding of the ideas and an emotional connection to the people they affect.